Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's dive right into the massive paradigm shift happening in the EV charging ecosystem right now in 2026. If you've been following electric vehicles for a while, you already know the cars themselves are incredible. But the infrastructure, well, that's kind of been the bottleneck, hasn't it? Today, we're going to look at how the entire industry is completely reinventing how, where, and exactly how fast we power up. Picture this. You pull up to a charging station. You're running low on juice, and the machine is just dead. It's super frustrating, right? Well, a recent J.D. Power survey actually found that 20% of drivers who visit a public charger fail to charge. That completely validates those very real frustrations you might have experienced out in the wild. We're talking about a 14% overall malfunction rate across networks. That isn't just an inconvenience anymore. It's a systemic challenge that the industry is finally tackling head-on. So, how are we fixing this? We're going to break it down into 5 key areas. 1. The global charging challenge. 2. Speed and standardization. 3. Powering commercial fleets. 4. Mobile off-grid charging. And 5. Vehicle-to-grid.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the global charging challenge.
Just look at the sheer scale of the macro picture here. We literally have oceans of electric vehicles waiting for export at global shipping ports right now. The volume is just staggering. We are officially moving from early adopters into full-blown mass-market adoption. And this global fleet requires a charging network that is just as robust and standardized as the century-old gas station network. We simply can't sustain this explosive growth with the spotty infrastructure of the past. It's an absolute necessity.
Moving right along to Section 2, speed and standardization.
The absolute crucial point here is fixing the consumer experience. For 2026, that means adopting universal plugs and vastly, and I mean vastly, accelerating charging speeds. We're finally seeing true standardization. A real game changer is Volkswagen officially joining the North American Charging Standard, or NACS, ecosystem. Starting November 18, 2025, VW EV owners get access to the massive, highly reliable Tesla supercharger network. They're doing this using a $200 adapter, and VW is actually throwing in a $100 rebate to original owners of 2025 models. This is huge. It completely removes one of the biggest headaches for consumers, pulling up to a station and realizing, oh great, I have the wrong plug.
But it's not just about the plugs, right? It's about raw speed. For a long time, 35 minutes was your standard wait time on a 150 kilowatt CCS charger. Tesla pushed that down to about 20 minutes with V3 and theoretically around 12 minutes with the 500 kilowatt V4. But get this, BYD's new Megawatt Flash Charging 2.0 system just shatters all of those previous records. Operating at an unbelievable 1,500 kilowatts, it delivers 400 kilometers of range in just 5 minutes. That literally matches the time it takes to pump a tank of gas. It's a total paradigm shift.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, pushing 1,500 kilowatts, wouldn't that instantly melt the cables or brown out the entire neighborhood? Well, BYD solved this ingeniously. First, instead of this heavy, thick cable you have to drag through the dirt, they designed a suspended zero-gravity overhead rail. The all-liquid cooled cable just hangs down and weighs only 2 kilograms. Second, to protect the grid from massive power spikes when multiple cars plug in, each station has this massive on-site stationary battery buffer. It slowly sips power from the grid 24/7 and then rapidly dumps that stored power into your car when you plug in. They're targeting 20,000 of these stations in China by the end of 2026. It's just a brilliantly elegant engineering solution. All right, let's shift gears to Section 3, powering commercial fleets. For you and me, charging is about convenience, but keeping commercial trucks, vans, and buses moving requires an entirely different playbook. For a commercial fleet, charging is mission critical. A missed charge literally equals a missed delivery route and lost revenue. So operators rely on 3 primary models. Depot charging is the absolute backbone, highly controlled overnight charging at the home base. Then you've got workplace charging for company cars during the day. And finally, public charging, which is strictly used as a backup for route gaps, usually managed through centralized fleet charge cards so they can control variable costs. So, to avoid completely blowing out their internal electrical grids, fleet operators have to be meticulous. You can't just plug in 50 delivery vans at 6 p.m. and cross your fingers. They have to map a phased expansion and install expandable backbone infrastructure first. Then they rely heavily on dynamic load management software to distribute the power smartly throughout the night, completely within the building's electrical limits. For them, the ultimate success metric isn't how fast did it charge, it's simply, are all the vehicles 100% ready by their scheduled morning departure time? Which brings us to Section 4. mobile off-grid charging.
Okay, what happens when you need to scale up a commercial fleet right now, today, but you simply cannot wait months or even years for utility companies to upgrade the local power grid? This is where a fascinating new sector called mobile charging as a service swoops in. It is the perfect solution for rapid fleet electrification, entirely bypassing the agonizing construction and permitting delays of traditional fixed infrastructure. You literally just bring the charger to the vehicles entirely off-grid. A prime real-world example of this in action right now in 2026 is the Pioneer eBoost GOAT. Pioneer Power Solutions partnered up with Savvy Charging to deploy these units in the United Arab Emirates. Just picture this, a rugged Ford F-350 chassis equipped with a fully mobile 40-kilowatt Level 3 fast charger mounted right on the back. Because the UAE has a strict government mandate requiring 30% of all fleets to be electric by 2030, massive operators like the Dubai Taxi Corporation just can't wait for concrete to be poured. These mobile units let them start operating those electric fleets today.
And finally, let's tackle Section 5, Vehicle to Grid.
This is the ultimate paradigm shift of this entire explainer. This is where your EV stops being just a consumer of electricity and actually becomes a solution to global grid strain. But first, we need to quickly bust some industry jargon. The umbrella term is bidirectional charging. V2L, or vehicle to load, is pretty basic. You plug your power tools or a camping fridge directly into your car. V2H, vehicle to home, requires a special wall box and lets your car act as a backup generator for your house during a blackout. But V2G, vehicle to grid, that's the absolute holy grail. This is where your parked car acts as a decentralized battery, sending its stored power all the way back into the public neighborhood grid when demand is at its absolute highest. Now, for years, dating back to early experiments in Utrecht over a decade ago, VTG was just this super cool idea stuck in pilot programs. Why? Red tape. Basically, if you sent power back to the grid, utility companies charged you a grid fee, literally penalizing you for helping out. But that finally changed when Germany amended their Energy Industry Act in November of 2025. They started treating EV batteries like any other energy storage, officially killing that double fee penalty. And with the Miesball's technical framework kicking in by April 2026, the legal rails are finally clear for mass adoption.
Okay, I know exactly what's popping into your head right now. If I'm constantly draining and charging my car for the grid, isn't that going to completely fry my ridiculously expensive EV battery? It's a totally fair question, but the data says no. Extensive studies actually show that 85 to 90% of battery degradation over 10 years happens just from time and temperature, what they call calendar aging. Participating in V2G cycling adds a maximum of 9 to 14% extra degradation over a full decade. If you break that math down, that is only about 0.31% of extra wear per year.
Because that extra wear is literally a fraction of a percent, automakers are confidently moving past the testing phase. Here in 2026, we're seeing real commercial rollouts. Renault is offering the new 5 E-Tech bundled with a bidirectional charger and a specific energy contract. BMW partnered with Eon to launch a V2G package for the iX3 in Germany using their Wallbox Professional. Kia, Hyundai, and the VW Group are all launching services. It's not some futuristic concept anymore. It's a real product you can buy today.
So, what is the actual payoff for you, the driver? Well, it's pretty fantastic. By participating in a program like BMW and Eon's V2G tariff, you earn money while doing absolutely nothing. You just park, plug in, and let the software handle the rest. They estimate your idle, parked car can earn you up to €720 a year. In a best-case scenario, that bonus essentially covers the electricity cost of driving roughly 12,000 kilometers. Your car is quite literally paying for its own fuel.
Considering everything we've uncovered in this explainer, from standardizing plugs to delivering megawatt charge speeds that rival gas stations, to deploying mobile fleets in the desert, all the way to earning hundreds of euros while you sleep, it is incredibly clear that charging infrastructure is no longer holding EVs back. Actually, it's becoming the grid's biggest asset. Which leaves us with one really powerful question. When the time comes, are you ready to let your parked car power your neighborhood? Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.